Our technology specialist this week is Professor Kevin Curran from the University of Ulster. And Kevin, good to see you. Plenty of ground to cover. And I say, you might have a few bob for us. Look, when it comes to getting the phone pinched, I've broken phones and lost ones. Never had them pinched. There's pressure, I see, Kevin, on the likes of Apple, Samsung and Google. I think to a lot of people it strikes them that the world is afraid to say a word to them. Go on and clean up your act on this social media platform, that one. And they go, nah, we're not bothering. But what's happening here, Kevin, and is there legs on it? You know what I mean?
There should be legs on it, where the MPs and the Science, Innovation and Technology Committee have written to the Home Secretary. And they basically said, look at Google and Apple are the main people behind the platforms that we use on our mobile phones. And they've written to them to say that you're not doing enough to stop mobile phone theft. Because last year in London there was 80,000 phones stolen, and 8 out of 10 of those phones were activated overseas on other networks.
Gotcha. So there's structure there. There's structured crime there.
Every phone has a unique identifier called IMEI. And in the UK, if your phone is stolen, of course, the first thing you do is, you should log into your iCloud or you log into your Google and you should mark your phone as lost. Then you should contact your carrier and contact the police if you wish, and then that phone will be locked. It can never get back onto a network here and be used by a thief, even if they can unlock it. So you think, okay, there is a problem solved. If thieves find out that they can't steal a phone, snatch a phone and use it, well then hopefully that they will stop doing it. But of course, it's not just that the phones, the ideal thing for a thief is they snatch your phone, they unlock it, and they sell it for whatever price they can get on the second-hand market. The second choice they have is, because in the UK these phones are like bricks, as we call it, because they're unusable if you have contacted and marked it as lost. But what they can do is open it up and break down the parts and make up to 300 or 400 quid on the iPhone parts, whatever else. So there's a market for the stolen parts. The reason they're mostly shipped overseas, most of these are literally in their thousands, are shipped to Hong Kong and China and other countries, and also to Africa, is that a large percentage goes to Nigeria and Africa, is that they're usable on the networks over there because the phone carriers do not implement this IMEI block. So
it's if you made the phone and you've got your serial number on it and you sell it to me, somebody steals it and I switch on the phone, or the thief switches on the phone in Portsmouth, you'll know that it's in Portsmouth, but you choose not to in those other countries.
Exactly, but not even that. It shouldn't work because it's been blocked. The minute they snatch a phone, they put it into a Faraday cage, a little like a bag with metallic protection, so that you can't get a network connection. The same way when the police come and examine a phone, they'll put into bags which don't allow a signal in, and they'll always examine devices in a Faraday cage, as we call it. So that
Faraday cage, that's what you call it.
Oh yeah, so that I can't log in, and so say I had something, say I had incriminating evidence on my phone. And the PSNI come in and take my phone and all my 20 iPads and whatever else, good luck to them. So if I had incriminating evidence, as a technical guy, the first thing I would do is remotely delete those devices. I would just log in after the police have gone, and I'd give them a cup of tea and I would log in. But of course I can't do that because they would have it in a Faraday cage. So that's protected from the network. And of course then they image these devices again. But what Apple have done, what they have done nowadays is very much with the latest iPhones. iPhones always get more secure. That the phones that the screens again, which was the biggest component for resale, cannot now actually be used in a different phone because it's tied to the phone it came with. Also, the battery, believe it or not, is tied to the device it came from, and the front camera, the back camera, because. Also, if people will have noticed if they've gone to third-party mobile shops around here, the ones that replace,
get a screen replaced,
totally, all the time. That in the last few years, you might see a warning in your settings saying, "Look, at this component is not original," and that will block some of the features. Like you're buying, if you replace a finger, a lot of the features will not work, like Face ID, whatever else. So they are doing their things there, and the reason. So Apple have come back and said, "Look, at the reason we can't do this kind of what seems on paper like a good thing that we have IMEI blocking everywhere is that it's because someone could get your IMEI number and I could ring up and all of a sudden you cannot access your phone, your photos, everything else. I could be malicious and phone up claiming I'm Mark Patterson, giving them my IMEI number and have you blocked and you couldn't get access to anything. Like, I'd have to have your number, but like disgruntled partners could do that to the partner because the phone would be lying around in the box.
I get you.
And every phone box comes with the IMEI number on it.
Gosh, red phone boxes were so much easier than this. What about Apple then? There's talk about, there's a court ruling here, Kevin, to the tune of 1.5 billion. Now, the Competition Appeals Tribunal finds that Apple in particular, again, externally, had abused its dominant position by charging excessive and unfair prices. For what, Kevin? And why does this matter?
Well, it matters, like, again, in the ecosystem with Apple, again, everything has to be bought through the App Store. And the problem the Competitions Market Authority have is that Apple cream 30% off the top for every app that's sold. Also, every in-app purchase, again, which is very popular in gaming and other things where people buy things. Again, Apple takes 30% off the top for that. Now, they do that for anybody for sales over 1 million. So if you're a small developer and your sales haven't reached 1 million, they cream 15%. But of course, Apple maintain the iStore, the Apple App Store. They also do to make sure that there's no piracy, that they do the transactions, the billing, everything else. So they claim that, look, we're paying a lot of money for this. We're giving app developers an ecosystem to be able to download apps. But the Competitions Market Authority in the UK believe that this is a monopoly. That Apple are doing something unfairly. Now, again, they only do it for virtual goods. Apple do not claim 30% for Amazon deliveries or Uber, something where there's a physical goods being delivered. And in the Uber case, it's humans which are being delivered. So again, but there's pros and cons. Again, Apple will come back and say, no, we provide the walled garden. What we're doing is fair. And also that they will say that it's only that 98% of apps and developers actually are free paid app. Again, that they don't have any whatever. Because generally there's only a handful of apps we all have on our phones, and yet there's millions of apps on the App Store again, but no one ever downloads apart from a handful of people. So in some ways it's only affecting the big players like the Xs and
it's not about storage, Kevin. I always get this message, you need to be paying 99p a month more for storage, and yet look, that's my storage. I'm using 39 gig from 64 gig.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I
don't need storage, do I?
No.
But it keeps telling me I have to pay them another £1 for more storage.
Yeah, no, most people don't. In fact, there's no real use to buy over 256 gigs really for the majority.
So who's going to get money here from Apple?
Well, there's 1.5 billion is what the damages are estimated to be at, and there's about 36 million UK iPhone and iPad users again. So. Really, back with the paper envelope, you're talking about 40 quid. But again, the lawyers will probably get 60% of that. So maybe 20 quid at the most.
Listen, the digital age allows us, somebody somewhere's had to write this, or maybe it was an AI writing it. Man alarmed to discover his smart vacuum, his Hoover, was broadcasting a secret map of his house.
Very much.
Is that AI or is that real?
No, that's real. I read his blog post. Smart robot vacuums are very popular. And
I'm just, so they're the wee things that we sort of like old-fashioned weighing scales that you used to stand on. It's the wee square thing that roams around the kitchen on its own. The cat sits on it.
Apart from my devices, it's the most useful technological gadget I have. I've had one for about 8 years.
But it's not bumping everything. The chairs.
No, not at all. No, every day I wake up and I can hear him downstairs in the morning.
Working away.
Yeah, one upstairs too. And you can also get with the mop feature as well, and they're excellent. But they map out, the newer ones map out your rooms, and you download an app and you literally walk into a room and you can tell it where not to go, and also where not to go when it's mopping if you got carpets there. So they are fantastic. They actually work as advertised. Unfortunately, most robot vacuums now actually have cameras on them. They have microphones. But this guy, he had the iLife A11, and he noticed that it was sending gigabytes of information, which is a lot for a robot vacuum to be sending over your network back to headquarters. He wanted to find out what it was. He opened it up, and then he found a few days later that the vacuum stopped working. He went to the service center, it worked there, came back, and he believes because he had turned off the uploading of data that the company had made his vacuum into a brick. But in the future, I mean, they are intrusive. If spy agencies, again, if I was in a spy agency and one of spying people, I would have compromised robot vacuums because they have the microphones and the cameras. I also would have the smart smoke detectors as well. I'd have my cameras and microphones in there as well. Because who suspects your smoke detector being a listening device. And I know that they're doing this.
So the lesson is go home and have a good chat with your Hoover tonight.
The dumber your vacuum is,
Exactly.
Mine is dumb because it doesn't have a camera and a microphone. But I know that
Mine is a lead you plug into the wall, needs my arm to work it. I'm happy enough of that.
They are fantastic. I had one when I was in Portrush. I was above Morelli's ice cream parlour, and I came in from work one day and I could not find my vacuum. And there's a gap in my railing outside at that time, right above where all the kids and people queue for their ice cream. And I was terrified that my vacuum had gone out, because it does climb up on ledges. Gone out through the window and land on some poor kid. And I finally found it behind my sofa.
Oh, God. Yeah. There's a novella in that, Kevin. Mind your Hoovers, folks. Mind your Hoovers. The thoughts today of Professor Kevin Curran from the Ulster University at Magee. Right, folks, coming up in the second half, more on the skate park, but not in Derry, obviously. And the Chelsea Flower Show, we story here in the parish. Back in 10 minutes. It's 1 o'clock.
On BBC Sounds, your radio, TV and smart speaker, this is The Northwest at 1 on BBC Radio Foyle.
You're listening to The Northwest at 1 with Ashley Swan.